From downtown, this is Tim Kitzer from NBA Jam, and you're listening to NintenDomain Podcast. Boom shakalaka!
This week on NintenDomain, E0 has begun. And also, we have the highly anticipated sequel to Friends of Ringo Ishikawa to talk about.
Eggs. Eggs. Eggs.
I am on the hunt.
Eggs.
And many other things.
Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 425, your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about the forever multiple weeks of E0 or whatever you want to call it. Direct after direct after direct is what we're going to experience for the next however many episodes. And also, new releases and whatnot. And we are your hosts. I'm Trey, High Definition Johnson.
I'm Jeremy, Queston Kitty Mikowski.
I'm John, Bloopies and Bubble Frogs Knitter.
It's alliteration, right? Bees and bees and bees. So,
Audacious.
Let's start off the show as we normally do and talk about games that we got and games that we've been playing. So, in order to talk about the first stuff that I have, I guess we have to have a downer at the beginning here. But if you remember, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure we've talked about it before, but I feel like there was like 1 week where we missed a major death in video games. But Geoff Follin died. Well, I guess we found out that he had just died. He might have died like a week ago, but it was just posted from Tim Follin on Facebook, which actually I found out about it through a friend of the show, John Wedgeworth, actually posted it on Facebook. That's how I saw it, was Tim Follin talking about Geoff Follin dying. And it really, I don't know. I mean, all of these, like Roger Corman and like, we've been talking about deaths for a while, but this one really hit me because, for anybody who's on the Patreon, I have Spider-Man and the X-Men and Arcade's Revenge playing behind me here because that was a soundtrack that really like meant a lot to me. It's one of my favorite like great soundtracks for not so great games, which we did do an episode about that. And the Follins were in there. We talked about Solstice. I'm sure we talked about Spider-Man and the X-Men, but Geoff Follin just had like an incredible credit list, and he died at 58 from pancreatic cancer. And he just found out, he was just diagnosed with it on May 7th, and that's May 7th of this year. So like, it's fucking terrifying, like how it was just like. And Tim Follin's post is like, he did everything that you said that you should do right. He didn't drink, he didn't do drugs, like he was very healthy, like, and he got taken out like in weeks, and it's fucked. So
I agree.
Thinking of Geoff Follin and all that, I wanted to set up I actually have this HDMI, this GameCube HDMI plug that I bought a while ago that I never actually used, and I wanted to have it going for the Patreon video here, just so I could put up Spider-Man Arcade's Revenge in my background here. And also, Terminator 2 on NES. Talk about a fucking random-ass game that Geoff Follin was on the soundtrack for. This is a licensed game that I got as a kid, 1992, I think, whenever Terminator 2 came out. And I haven't played this game in years. It's not a great game, but, it was, I was really big into getting licensed stuff, and this was probably a birthday gift or something like that. And I turned it on the other night, and just, like, right off the bat, you hear the soundtrack, and it's, like, 100% Geoff Follin. Like, it has that, like, the, like, it has, like, the guitars in there, and like, all that stuff that you would hear from the other things. And not to mention Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, like, one of my favorite baseball games on Super Nintendo, also responsible for the soundtrack for that as well. So, like, there's so many great soundtracks that he's done, and, yeah, just taken out at 58, like, damn. But I guess that inspired me to hook up my Super Nintendo. It's an HDMI cable that you can use for anything that uses that same plug that the Super Nintendo and the N64 and the GameCube use. So that's kind of where I went for that. But Geoff Follin, here's to you. Like, shit.
Wow. Yeah.
Thanks for all the great music.
Some of my favorite soundtracks. And what was it? John Wedgeworth also mentioned the Wolverine NES soundtrack, which is another bad game with a really, really good soundtrack. Oh yeah, and Silver Surfer, didn't even mention that. Like, incredible soundtrack for a not good game. So yeah, and I just want to read the quote from Tim directly about what he said. I feel kind of stupid being like, oh no, yeah, here, this since he died, here, let's talk about my HDMI plug or whatever. Because that's not really the point. But I guess it did inspire me to, play some of the games that he was on the soundtrack for. All right, so the post from Tim Follin was, I haven't used Facebook for years, but I had to reactivate my account here to post the saddest news of my life. I can't believe I'm writing this, but my amazing brother Jeff passed away earlier this week from pancreatic cancer, which was only diagnosed on the 7th of May in A&E after waiting for months for scans, etc. The speed at which this has happened has been utterly brutal. He leaves behind an amazing wife and 3 amazing kids, the oldest 19, the youngest 16. You can imagine how devastating this is for all of them and for the rest of us. He was 4 years older than me, and I idolized him and copied him throughout my teens and throughout my life. He was the most empathetic, caring, loving brother you could wish for. I loved him as much as it's possible to love anyone. It feels like a huge piece has been suddenly and violently ripped out of me. I haven't been able to stop crying for weeks. At the moment, to be completely honest, I'm struggling to work out how to live without him, but I know he'd want me to be there for his family. Making sure I can help them in any way I can is now my priority. Jeff was too young for this. He never smoked, hardly drank, exercised regularly, and ate healthily. He did everything you're supposed to, and yet this happened. Pancreatic cancer is one of the worst. It has few symptoms, yet can spread the fastest. If you can, please consider donating to pancreatic cancer research. This disease desperately needs a cure. So, yikes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah. I'd say not the best way to start off the show, but I guess I was upset about it, like I said, because some of my favorite soundtracks, and I guess it inspired me to hook up to get my Super Nintendo going on an HDMI, just so I could play Amazing Spider-Man and the X-Men and Arcade's Revenge again, and remember the wonderful soundtrack from Geoff Follin. Not to mention the Terminator 2 NES game, and, Ken Griffey Jr., a lot of other Solstice, a lot of other stuff that we really love. We did a whole Patreon episode, which you can find at patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast, where we talked about great songs for not so great games, and we totally talked about Jeff and Tim on there.
Totally.
And yeah, it sucks. It feels like it's been like one after another, right? It's been like like Toriyama also. It just feel like who's next, that sort of thing. But the HDMI cable works pretty well. It didn't need a charger. I mean, I showed it to Jeremy while you were here, and you don't have to plug it in, even though it does have a USB-C thing on it. I don't know why. You just plug it in straight. But it works from the Super Nintendo, the N64, and the GameCube. It works. It can make everything play in 720 or 1080, whatever. But it looked pretty good. I pretty much I tested I tested different things on it. Just it's like getting a new TV. It's like, all right, let's try. Did Spider-Man and the X-Men, which I played the most, because of Geoff Follin's soundtrack. And then I did like X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, Super Empire Strikes Back, Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball. Played a little bit of Tetris Attack, just to see how those played. I did like 64, Cruising the World, Rogue Squadron, Super Mario 64, Double Dash on GameCube, F-Zero GX, Maximum Velocity, which is a Game Boy Advance game. I did the Game Boy Player on there also, so got to try it out. But it works really well. I'll probably get it. If I get more work, I'd love to get another one. Get a couple of them to have in different places because they work really well. The whole seems like the TV industry is kind of going the way of the video game industry right now, where everybody's buying up companies and firing people and canceling shows and all that. So everything's kind of a little bit. A lot of people are like, "What the fuck's going on right now?" in that entertainment industry also. So it's like, what? So yeah. Anyway, Paper Mario. Still been playing Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. I got through Glitzville, which is where you become a professional wrestler for a whole chapter, which is pretty awesome. I got the heavyweight belt of Glitzville as Mario, so it's pretty cool. I was thinking this was an idea that I had for a Patreon episode. We can still do it in some way or form, but I was thinking about like how many times, especially Japanese games, like how many times you see pro wrestling stuff in non-wrestling games, and it happens a lot. Like I know we talked about it. Like Live Alive has a whole part where you're a professional wrestler, and it has like a 100% Hulk Hogan character that's called like Terry Tolgan or something like that. It's like it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to look like Hulk Hogan, and it has a name that references Hulk Hogan but isn't Hulk Hogan. You know, like, and in Live Alive, you know, because it's like because it depends on where you place your characters for the battle system and all that. It's all about like, well, this attack will do this, so you have to be over here to dodge it, but it still kind of works in wrestling mechanics to it. I guess Paper Mario doesn't necessarily do it that much, but you can still tell that there's a lot of there's this whole like fun thing to it, and you even get to, you know, you get to fight your boss. Like they bring in that Vince McMahon thing, obviously, where it's like there's this whole conspiracy, like wrestlers are disappearing, like all these different competitors are like disappearing, and there's a conspiracy about the ring, like how, you know, there, and you get all these notes from like a fan. That's a person that like gives you. You remember all this, right, Jeremy? Glitzville, where you meet the Yoshi character, which I always named the character after what you called Yoshi, which is the Yoster. That's what That's what I called him on the original GameCube game. And I remember I spelled it wrong. I called him the Yoster, like I put SH instead of, but I spelled it right this time. I put YO apostrophe stir. That's what I had down. So he's still the Yoster. Did you have a different color for him, or did he end up being green when you did it? Do you remember? Like when you got him?
I think he was always green.
Because there's different colors, and I thought that maybe he was red when I did it originally, but I looked it up just to see like what decides the color of your Yoshi, because you can get like 4 or 5 different colors in the game, and I guess it all depends on how long you have the egg with you. Because you remember you get the Yoshi egg that follows you around in Glitzville, and you have to get to a certain part in the chapter before Yoshi hatches. So I guess if you spend a whole lot of time doing other things and not doing like the regular quest or whatever, it'll be a different color. So if it's like past like 10 minutes or something like that, it'll be a color other than green or something. It's weird.
Oh.
Like, yeah. So there's 3 or 4 different other colors. And I wish I would have known that after it already happened, because I would have waited and then I had a different color that wasn't just the regular green Yoshi, but there's some fun stuff in there. But yeah, the Paper Mario game. I didn't know about that. Yeah. Paper Mario game is still really good. Yeah, I just looked it up just because I wanted to know, because it already hatched, and I'm like, well, I probably can't change the color now. And yeah, it all depends on how long it takes you to get to the part where the egg hatches. So, and I guess you could leave and you could go to other places and do other things, and you know, or you could just wait, you know, for the certain amount of time and have a different colored Yoshi and all that. I always thought mine wasn't green, but whatever. Anyway, I got that Yoshi now. It's part of the story too, like because you have to like go up the ranks in the different, because you start in the minor league and you got to get in the major league, and then you want to like win the belt, which the belt has like the crystal star on it, but it's not the actual crystal star. There's a different one. The actual crystal star is like beneath the ring, and it's like they're like pulling the energy out of it or whatever. There's this whole thing, but yeah, Paper Mario is awesome. There's a lot of fun wrestling stuff in there. Like I said earlier about times being hard on the TV or whatever, I'm back to delivering again, so I've had less money to spend on games, but this week has actually been pretty good because there's been a lot of free stuff out. And speaking of free stuff, Star Wars Hunters just came out yesterday, or what was it? It came out Tuesday morning at 4 a.m. We were actually going to try to stream it for our Wrestle Chat thing, because I was hoping that it would drop at midnight. But even if it did, we still wouldn't have been able to do it, because I like the game, but it's got a lot of kind of grinding that you have to do before you can even play online.
Yeah, I didn't play the game at all, but I saw the Switch Up review, and they kind of said that it felt a little bit Las Vegas-y, like in terms of the flashiness of it, and it was developed by Zynga, you know, known for mobile games and all that.
Well, it has, I mean, the menu system is incredibly confusing. It's very much like Fortnite, like that sort of thing, where there's a whole bunch of different things. But the most annoying thing is that if you want to play online, if you actually want to play online, you have to be level 6 before you can play online. So you have to grind your character up to level 6 before you can even play your friends online. Like even if you just download it. So
and you're playing against bots, yeah. That's what they said.
You have to go through a whole lot of tutorials, and you have to unlock all of the different character types in the game before you can get to the actual like multiplayer part. So that kind of sucks. And I played for a couple hours last night, just trying to get like a feel for it, and I'm like level 4, like almost level 5. Like I still need to play it for maybe another hour, maybe another 2 hours before I can actually play the actual game, to actually get
It's a long time.
to the real, which is weird. Like, and I'm sure, it's going to be, I haven't messaged the other guys yet because we were going to try to play it next week, but it's like, I was like, yeah, you got to put some time in before you actually get to the actual game. It's not even like a battle pass thing or anything like that. You can't like throw money out and be like, I want to play now. You still have to go through all this shit. Like it's not even, and they do like kind of what Fortnite normally does, where they send you through the menus and they're like, all right, you can spend money and get this different costume for this character, whatever. But it's still, as far as I can tell, there's no way for you to just like pay money just to be able to just play it online. You still got to go through all this stuff, which is
I think
like,
that's kind of a good idea for an online game, because you don't want to get in there and there's a bunch of people who like really don't know what they're doing. Maybe folks who have not played a type of game like this before.
But that's the fun. That's how people like me win.
I agree with you. But I'm saying,
well, I want the bad people in there.
I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, I think that maybe they should have scaled that back to be like, I don't know, a half hour of training or an hour at most,
For
something
sure,
like
yeah.
that. But to be playing for 5-6 hours seems like that's more like a deterrent. Like knowing that, I'm less inclined to jump in and try the game. I've got it. I downloaded it. But I don't know.
Maybe not that much. I mean, it did kind of seem like it felt like kind of a slog to get to the actual game, which I didn't even get to. And like I said, I played for a couple hours, so maybe 3 hours before you get to jump on there. But you still should be able to like just jump on and play with your friends if you want to, that sort of thing. So, and I know like what is it? F-099 made you like do a couple courses before they put you on the regular internet, but that only took like maybe 5-10 minutes, This one was seemed to be a lot longer, but it was fun enough from what I was doing on it. It's got gyro aiming, which is pretty cool. Like not everybody has that.
That's cool.
I like the different, there's, like I said, it's like a Star Wars Overwatch is what most people would think of if you've seen Overwatch or whatever. It has the character based, the character types and all that. I like playing as the Sentinel, which is basically the stormtrooper with a big like minigun. So you move pretty quickly, but then you can put up a shield in front of you, and then you like and then you like take everybody down with your minigun. And that was the one I liked the most. But there's a sniper character that has like a hook shot thing with like a grapple hook that's kind of cool that you can kind of jump around with. And there's also like the tank character, which is like a Wookiee that you beat people with like robot arms, which is kind of funny because if you remember in the original Star Wars movie, Han Solo says that Chewbacca would rip people's arms off, whenever he got mad. So seeing like a Wookiee with 2 arms ripped off that they beat people with is funny. It's an inside joke, to the original movie and all that. So it's got fun stuff like that. It looks pretty good for what it is. I guess it's only on Switch and phones right now is what I've heard. It's only on like iPhone and Switch. So it's a console exclusive even of a Star Wars game. So that's was unexpected. But yeah, I say check it out. It's, like I said, it's free. My main complaint was, why do you have to go through all of this real confusing shit before you can actually like get to the actual game? I remember talking to Kevin Fair once where we were talking about like Fortnite and how like it always like throws you back to the menu to throw you all the shit that you have to buy and all that, and it very much has that like free to play part to it, which sucks. Like I don't like that, where it's just like. And the Switch Up review, he was saying that it's good enough that he wishes that it would have just been a game you could just buy for like $20 and then you don't have to deal with all this bullshit, and then you could just play it as a game and you don't have to like keep getting bombarded by all these like, here, buy this skin or buy this thing or buy this different looking gun or all this crap, which you should, who just don't put anything to it. So who knows how long I'll play it for. I mean, we wanted we were planning on doing a stream of it next week, so hopefully everybody's up to speed. I saw some people were playing it on there, but yeah, hopefully we're all to level 6 by then so we can all play. But it's 4v4, and we normally play like 4 people at once, so that'll work out for our stream. I think maybe some of the people are kind of tired of Fight Forever. I'm not, because Fight Forever is now on PlayStation Plus. Did you get it yet for your PlayStation 5?
I haven't
Jeremy?
gotten it yet. No.
Oh, I did. I got it. I think it launched about the same time as Star Wars Hunters. It came out at like 4 a.m. or I don't know. Whenever I got up on Tuesday, I normally wake up and I look at my phone and check Twitter and all that, and I saw that AEW Games had posted AEW Fight Forever is on PlayStation Plus now. So I, dusted off my old PS4. Make sure it's still turned on. No, actually, it was still in sleep mode. I could turn it on with my phone. I turned it on with my phone, and I downloaded all of the free games for the month. But I made sure I worked yesterday, but I wanted to make sure that I could jump on and play some AEW Fight Forever on PS3 and or PS4. And yeah, it's basically like, it's new all over again. I guess it's again for the first time, but it is kind of. I don't know. It runs a little bit better, or looks a little bit nicer than the Switch version. The tattoos of the wrestlers, they're less blurred. They're a little bit more detailed, from what I can tell. I did play an online match against a random person, which never happened to me on Switch, so that's cool. There's some people on there, and I won. I won my one and only online match.
Nice.
But it did have that some of that funny glitchy stuff that we run into on the stream. Where you like lock up together, and then it gets hooked on the lockup, and then you all kind of split up to different sides of the ring, and you still look like you're locked up, but you're not touching each other. Like, we totally had that same thing. But I ended up winning. But it was a pretty rough battle. And then later last night, I jumped on Stadium Stampede, and I got one person on there. I was against one other person. There was a real person, and a whole bunch of bots, and I won. But I never actually fought the person. So they must have been pretty new to it, because they must have got killed by the bots, because I never saw them. Because they were playing as CM Punk, and I never saw them. I beat all the other characters, and I ended up winning, and then my rank went up or whatever. But
They got fired.
yeah, but yeah, it's nice to see some people on there. We'll see how long it goes for, But it did kind of feel like this game that I put like over 200 hours into felt new again, I guess, playing it on PS4. And the cool thing about PlayStation is trophies. I've already gotten like 10% of the trophies for AEW Fight Forever. Because, some of them are pretty easy. They're like, hit somebody in the face with a bat wrapped in barbed wire. It's like, I know how to do that. I've done it many a times. Or like win in a 4-player battle against hard mode on CPO. Cool. I normally play on Elite, so I'm good for that. Or like throw 10 people over the top rope in the Royal Rumble. I'm like, awesome, let's do it. So I was kind of just going through the different things that you can easily get trophies for. I got like 3 trophies for like the first match that I played. And if you download it, Jeremy, there's like 2 downloads. I think that's how most PlayStation games are. So you get like a base mode where you can only play as Kenny Omega or Hikaru Shida, but then you gotta wait for the other thing to download, and then you get all the other wrestlers. And if you want the extra shit that they added for free, the DLC, you gotta go into the PlayStation Store and download those separately also. But they have all of the season passes on sale. So we kind of talked about this last week. John was saying, this has DLC. So obviously they're trying to get, we're getting close to the year anniversary of AEW Fight Forever. It came out at the end of June last year. So, but they have all their seasons are on sale, and I basically calculated all of it. I added it all together, and if you were to buy all of the season passes for the PlayStation Plus, you would have to pay, what is it, $49.91. So pretty much $50 for all 4 of the seasons, if you wanted to do that. I'm not buying them again. They already got me. I'm not getting them again this time, but it is kind of fun to play it again. And I did want to I was like, you know what? I might try to platinum it. Why not? Let's try it out here. So, even though platinuming does ask you to go through the single player mode like 10 times, and I don't want to do that. It's a lot of single player. I like just playing the regular stuff, but it's nice that there's a little bit more people online now, and I can actually find people. So we'll see how long that lasts for. It may only be a week, it may be a month, if we're lucky. Who knows? But AW5 Forever, you can have 2 copies of it if you have PlayStation Plus, and you have it on Switch also. Should download it just to, I don't know. You can play Stadium Stampede on there. Even though you can't flip the, you can't invert it. Because I would do the inverted controls with my 8-bit-do, and I don't have an 8-bit-do for PS4, so I have to play with their regular controller. So that was unfortunate.
They still haven't patched that out?
Nope. They haven't patched a lot of things. They don't care. It seems like they. I'm gonna whenever I go to AEW Dynamite on July 3rd, I'm making a sign that I'm gonna hold up that says. Well, I'm gonna hold up a sign that says. Please add new match types to AEW Fight Forever was one of them that I'm going to do. That was a sign I was going to make. I think I might be too high up for them to see it, but it's still going to be funny to me and to anybody else who's played the game. Also, fix online, damn it. We're going to try to do that too. Even though Joe doesn't have a PS4, we might still try to get, because a lot of us do have PlayStations, try to see like the differences in the online for one versus the other. But the big main thing that came out, or is coming out, it's not out yet, I guess. Well, if you're listening to this on the non-Patreon, it'll be out by now. But the main thing that's coming out is Fading Afternoon, which is the unofficial sequel to Friends of Ringo Ishikawa, which was like my favorite game of that year, which I'm sure I talked a whole lot about ad nauseum. But Yeo, the developer, I've actually been following him on Twitter since I played Ringo. We actually I messaged him for this podcast. And he turned it down because he doesn't speak English, so he couldn't be on our podcast. But he did respond to us. Anyway, he put up a post that was like he was looking for people who have podcasts or whatever to review Fading Afternoon, and he was handing out codes. And I actually got a code to Fading Afternoon, so I was able to play it.
Oh, nice.
Before it was released. It's releasing on the 6th, which is Thursday, and it does very much feel like it's 100% in the vein of Ringo Ishikawa. And Ringo Ishikawa, you could say, like, if Ringo Ishikawa was like Persona, then Fading Afternoon is like Yakuza. It's like that sort of thing. Where Ringo was like, you're a high school student, and, you still have, like, your beat-em-up stuff and all that, but you can also go to class, and you can read books, and there's still a cigarette button, which I'm so glad he didn't get rid of that. There's still a button that just lets you smoke a cigarette, which is awesome. But this one, actually, the controls are much more complex. I'm planning on writing a review, obviously, for our NintenDomain blog, which I barely put anything on there, but I will do it for this one because it's important. And it's almost like talking directly to God, to the God of Fading Afternoon, because I know that EO will probably read my review. So it's like speaking directly to the developer and telling them how much you love their work and all that. But I was thinking about the title for my review and all that, and I was like, I was gonna say a beat 'em up with heart, which is kind of what it is. And I don't know, it's one of those things. I beat it, quote unquote. I had an ending last night in the game. I saw the credits, but this is a game that's gonna stick with you for a long time, and it's very much like you could say. I mean, it's 100%. It's like more art than game, I guess, sort of. Like it doesn't really. It kind of tells you what to do, but it kind of doesn't. Also, it kind of just drops you right into it, which is kind of what I love about it. So the game starts with you're in jail, and you're getting out of jail. You leave the jail, you walk through the prison, you go home, you talk to your old Yakuza boss. He tells you like what's going on, like how all the different families, they all got their own thing going on now. You wake up and cough a whole bunch of blood on yourself. After you sleep in this hotel for the first time. So I'm like, oh, so maybe you're terminal, something's going on. There's like no dialogue explaining any of this. And they basically kind of just put you on the street. You leave your hotel. You have to pay for the hotel for how many days you want to stay there. Like you can stay there. If you make enough money, you can get apartments. There's a couple different apartments you can get if you make enough to buy that. There's, like I said, there's all the Yakuza gangs around. And you can choose whether to fight them or not. And depending on whether you fight them, there'll be different things that happen. So it's very much like Ringo, where it's kind of like you can do whatever, but there are consequences. So I was playing it, and I ended up, they don't really tell you what to do. You can get on a train, and there's a map you can look at, and there's different places you can go to. And the map will show you like how much of an influence each of the Yakuza families have for each area and all that. And I was like, well, let's see. Let's try to knock out a whole family. So I go and I fight I fight all these people, and the combat is really good. Like it's like a beat 'em up, but it's like way more complex than I thought. Like it kind of blew my mind all you can do. Like cuz there's there's moves where you can like steal the weapon from the other person, and there's like different things you can do, whether you get a knife or a sword or a gun. I bought a gun as well. You can buy a gun from the pawn shop. That's actually one of the things they do tell you in the game, to go to the pawn shop and see if you can buy a gun from there. But you can use that whenever you want. And I was actually looking at Twitter earlier, and Yeo actually posted a video showing that the main character, you can kill yourself whenever you want to with your gun that you have. So like I said, the game can end in many different ways. And when I was playing it the first time, I basically knocked out this the Yakuza completely, except for like the Oyabon, like the main like head of the Yakuza. And he killed me on the train when I was going home. He'd walk up to me and shot me in the head on the train, and that was the end of the game. And I had no idea this was going to happen. He just kind of came up and capped me, and that was credits, and that's it. And you can't reload. It's done. Like that's the end. You got to start from the beginning again. But when you start from the beginning, it actually you have the option to like skip the tutorial, and you can skip the first week, so you can go right back. You can skip all the dialogue that happens at the beginning, and you can jump back into when you like start having different options and all that. So that's really cool. But I mean, it's like yeah. And it kind of plays, like I said, it kind of plays the same way as Ringo. It's pretty slow paced. It feels a little bit like Persona, where like, you do a thing, you have a certain amount of time to do things, and then you have to go home and go to sleep, and then you get up, and if you don't shave your face, your beard grows. I remember my beard was like big all of a sudden when I didn't understand the shaving part. I'm like, oh, why does he have a beard now? And I'm like, oh yeah, you got to go in the bathroom and hit a button and shave your face and all that stuff. And
you can't shoot your beard off your face.
No, that'd be dangerous. But I did all these different things. I went to a bar, like there's a bar you can go to, and I just kept ordering drinks, because I'm like, oh, is there going to be some sort of drunk effect like you can in the Yakuza games, like you can have in the Yakuza games? And my character ended up just falling down and just passing out in the bar, and then I just woke up at the hotel the next day, and I was like, oh, okay, well, you can do that too. You could just drink at a bar until you pass the fuck out, and then you end up home. So, yeah, there's all these different things you can do. There's like a like I said, there's a real estate place where you can go and buy different, where you can buy an apartment or rent an apartment if you can afford it. You can get loans. There's a loan service that you can go to. I still haven't figured out how to get a job. I know you could get a job in Ringo, but I haven't figured that out on here. And the Ringo one was fun because if you were missing work, as long as you didn't show up late, you still had a job. Unless you show up like on the day you weren't there, then you get fired. But if you don't show up until the next week, you still have a job, which that was always fun. But yeah, no, it's really, it's one of those games that stick with you, Like I said, it's a little rough on the edges because it's like a little more art than game necessarily. But I'm still thinking about it. Like it's, I don't know. I like it a lot so far. I don't know. Do you have any comments on that, John? You're the beat 'em up fan on the show.
Yeah, it intrigued me. I mean, the first one intrigued me. I never got around to actually getting it. I like the idea of something that's a beat 'em up with a little bit more focus on story and some quieter moments in there. That's a pretty cool idea.
I mean, it's kind of like a beat 'em up with consequences, I guess. Like you can fight any of the Yakuza people you want to, but if they kill you, you're dead and the game's over. And you have to start from the beginning. Like it's not like there's no continue or anything like that, which I think is really interesting.
No second life.
Yeah. And you can go to restaurants and you can buy food that'll refill your life and that sort of thing. Like, but you only have a certain amount of money, and also, which I don't remember this being in Ringo, but you only have a certain amount of cigarettes too. Like you have your cigarette button, but you have a pack that only has so many cigarettes, and you can buy more cigarettes from the bar if you want more. If you want to have more cigarettes and all that, so that's kind of a fun thing that's on there too.
Are you playing as Ringo?
No, you're a different person, but I mean it's still in the same vein. Like it's not you're not the same. I think, I mean, for all I know, Ringo might have died at the end of that one. Like it ends with him just fighting until credits in the end of that one. Spoilers, but that's some years old. But who knows if Ringo made it out of that or not? Like, so they're very poetic in that way, and it's still got the really, really great music, and the art is amazing on it. Like it looks really good. Like and it kind of tries to capture that like Tokyo, like where the way the cities are set up. Like it always felt really cool the way you could move around from one thing to another, that sort of thing. And you have to kind of memorize the maps somewhat, But I'm excited to play more of it. It's like I think it's $20, but it's developed by one person, by EO, and different people for the translation and the artwork and the music. So I think he just is the writer and the programmer to a point. So definitely check it out. And I'm planning on writing a review for it and putting it up on Metacritic and all that. That was the big thing, was he's just trying to get people to put Switch reviews up there, because there were no Switch reviews yet. So it was pretty cool to get a code directly. I mean, we do get codes directly from developers before, but one that you looked up to, like, because I had huge respect for Ringo, so it's nice to jump into that again. But yeah, I guess that's good for me.
Well, me this week, I able to play some games, but yeah, it's getting to the point. Getting married in a little over 3 months, and I think I'm gonna have to start putting a lot of my extra time into planning that stuff, because it's gotten to that point. But that's okay. I think I'm just gonna be playing all of my my usual suspects in the meantime, and that includes Balatro, which I ended up having a friend I hadn't talked to in a while texted me last night. My old roommate Nick was just texting me like, Balatro is the game of the year for 2024, and I'm like, whoa, really? Like
the Nick, like long-haired Buffy Nick?
No, not Nick from no, different Nick,
not LCC Nick
here in town. No,
oh, okay. What was his last name? Do you remember? Like from
Staley.
Staley, yeah, Nick Staley. That'd be crazy if it was him. Have you heard?
Yeah,
from
I've
him?
looked for him on social media a few times over the years, but haven't found him.
Yeah, last I saw was when we were there. Well, I went there with you or you took me there, I'm sure, to his apartment, and he had just got an Xbox, and he was playing the Buffy game on there, and he was so happy.
That had been close to 20 years ago.
It was a long time ago, yeah.
But yeah, he had his Buffy game, so he was set. No, this is a different Nick. This is my friend who I lived with for a while, and was kind of how I was able to play like PlayStation 3 and Xbox for the longest time, because he had all those consoles. But yeah, he texted me last night, kind of late, like, Balatro's great, this, that, and the other. And like, we ended up having a conversation for like an hour back and forth about Balatro and different strategies and stuff that we used and stuff. And yeah, just that conversation alone made me realize that I don't know when I'm going to stop playing this game. It's just so deep. And I guess there's a whole Reddit community that Nick has checked out that gives you like strategies and stuff. And I don't know if I'm going to look into that, but he gave me a few ideas that I'm going to try. Just about like what cards to level up and all that. You can get these crazy OP runs if you do it right.
I played a little bit of it. I played it when I was doing the Game Boy episode, the X-Pac one, which is up now. I played it for the second half of that, and I'm still kind of doing the same thing where I have like this really great run where everything's really awesome, and then I just fuck up really stupidly, and then I got to start over again.
I mean, that's
I'm
the way
kind of doing That's what it seems like. And some of them are like really just like 10 points, or it's like so minimal, like how I screwed it up, and it's like, what the fuck,
The more jokers you unlock, the more chances you have to mitigate that a little more. It makes it a little easier, but it depends on whether or not you get the right jokers. But
yeah,
a lot of that just gets a little easier as you unlock more stuff.
I mean, a lot of it was where I was getting crazy points for like one hand, but then there's just one game where I don't get shit. Like they just keep giving me shit, and I try to discard and get something, and I'm just getting nothing but high cards, and it's like not even like, not even pairs or whatever. Like that seems to be what happens. Like I'll have these like crazy hands, and then I just have one game where I just don't get shit, and they just keep giving me just garbage and garbage and garbage, and it's like I can't do anything. I try to discard until I get something, and I don't get anything, and that seems to be what's happening with that.
You just kind of got to get used to the rinse and repeat. Nick was telling me he actually will just like, if he doesn't like a run, he'll just leave it. He doesn't like play all the way to the end, which I always do. But
I mean, how can you tell? I guess if you haven't,
he says by round 4 or 5, he can usually tell if he's going to restart.
Yeah, you were saying that too. Well, you were saying like which round like will be where you have to like have something, as far as like skipping blinds and stuff, right?
So what you need is you need to get the ability to reroll the boss blind. Sometimes you can do that by skipping, but it's nice to have it where you can just pay to reroll it, and that's like a I forget what they call them, voucher. It's a voucher you get, but that one helps a lot because you might have spent your whole time like leveling up your clubs and adding a bunch of clubs to your deck, and then it'll be like all clubs are debuffed, and you're like fuck. But then you can reroll it sometimes to something better. Now, it's randomized, so sometimes it'll be something worse. But usually it's better if it's one you absolutely know you don't want to have. And sometimes they'll even give you a good one, like there's one where like you just have to sell a Joker and then nothing's debuffed. That one's cool because I just sold my stupidest Joker. That's easy. But yeah, that's like, I don't know. I'm almost afraid to even look at the Reddit strategies because I'm already so lost in this game when I play it. But that's probably just going to be on my list for the rest of the year. I think just playing it when I can. Likewise, Animal Well, I don't know how much I'm going to keep playing this. I've sort of gotten to a point where I'm kind of like bashing my head in the wall because I'm looking for all the eggs. There's 64 total, and I'm at like 40 something. And so I've got like 20 or less to get at this point. But they're just getting really hard to find, you know. And there's certain power-ups you get eventually where it'll help you find them. But even if you see where they are, getting to them is still it's still the actual puzzle. And sometimes it's just really convoluted how you end up that spot. So it's a cool game.
Looking up how to do it, or would you?
I still haven't. I still haven't looked up anything, but I might if I decide I want to keep playing this. Because there's still a couple items I don't have, and I'm really interested what they are going to do for me.
Is that like what the main goal of the second half or the past the credits is on Animal Well, is to get all the eggs? Is that pretty much what it is? Because
I think I mentioned it last week, but I looked online. I was just like, what do I do after credits? I kind of was tired and just wanted to figure it out. And the very first Reddit thread I found was like, don't look up help, just get all the eggs. So that's like basically all I've been doing since then, is just trying to get the eggs. And you'll find other stuff while you're doing it, which is cool, like items and stuff. But yeah, I think I've just gotten to a point where I feel like I've cased the entire map, and there's a couple rooms I can't figure out how to get into, and that's probably where all the good stuff is.
Did you get to? I guess you still didn't. You haven't cracked this week online stuff yet.
We haven't.
On Switch.
I know Sean has been playing it a lot this week, just because
she didn't do any of the online stuff though.
No.
Oh, I did it last week after we recorded. I got on and I actually I did the attack one, and it's basically. Yeah. It basically random shit drops on you, and you can you can choose whenever you have shit drop on the other person, but it's not like garbage blocks. It's just like other fruit and stuff like that. But I won a bunch of times, but I was like, what kind of pissed me off is it didn't keep track of any of it. Like it's like I wanted to show that I beat like 6 people in a row or whatever, but there was nothing on you didn't level up, or it didn't show like your win and lose amounts or whatever. So that kind of...
So it's just like extremely bare bones, it sounds like.
Yeah. So that kind of upset me, because I was like, wait, I'm doing really well here. I want proof of it. And it's like...
Maybe they'll update that eventually.
Yeah. So but it was fun. It was, I did pretty well, but it seemed kind of random on the attacks and stuff like that. But it's still, I'm saying, still check it out. It's worth fucking around with. I just wish it would show like whenever you're playing AEW online, when it actually works, when your character comes out of when you like enter like to the ring, it shows like your win and loss online, like under your name and all that, which is really cool. Which they would do on the AEW show anyway. It'd be like, won this amount of, it always shows like your record and all that sort of thing. So it's a shame when you're playing online that you have nothing to show for it. I want there to be like a badge, or you can be like, I beat this amount of people or whatever.
Yeah, that's totally. It doesn't even seem like that much to ask just to have like a win-loss record, or or
at least
like a rudimentary ranking,
just some stats
among your friends list or something. Yeah,
there is the online ranking that's always been there. I guess it's just I just want to show like your win-loss like online, like against people and all that sort of thing.
Maybe rivals and stuff. That's cool. Well, I still need to give that a try. The last thing I've been playing this week is something recommended multiple times at this point by a friend of the show, Hutch. And he actually messaged me on Twitter last week and was like, hey, both the Cat Quest games, the first 2 Cat Quest games are on PS Plus, the tier that he presumed I had, which he was right. And so I downloaded Cat Quest, and I was just like, I'm going to try playing it a little bit, see if this is for me or not. It may not be, but it's free. And yeah, I just kept playing it, and I really like it. It's really good. It's super chill. Sometimes it's a little frustrating, but once you get the pattern of the combat down, it can get almost a little repetitive. But each enemy, it's like any other RPG where they have different weaknesses and stuff. So you have to try out different magic spells and stuff before you find the one that works correct. And in the meantime, you have to avoid their casts and their attacks. And the healing spell is not that great in this, so that makes it kind of hard. But I think that's for the best because you're supposed to level everything up a bunch. But I'm at level 55, I think now, and I'm seeing these caves because there's like it's just like an open world map, and there's like all these things you can go to, but it'll like have a little warning of like what level you should be at before you go in. And I'm seeing ones that are like level all the way up to level 99 and like, you know, in the high 80s and 70s. So I don't know how much more time I have left, but there were like these dragons I had to defeat, and I defeated all the dragons. So I thought that was going to be the end of the game, but now it seems like there's a good chunk more of content that I need to get through. But it's such a nice little charming game and really simple.
Is it a straight RPG or is it an action RPG?
It's definitely an action RPG.
It's like 2D, right? Like, well, I know there's like a map, right, where you like go from one place to another. But when you're in it, are you walking? From what I saw, it kind of looked like sort of a 2D thing, but turn-based battles. Like how does it work?
It's all the map. So you're walking around on the map. Things are labeled like as though you're walking over an actual map, and that's the gameplay area. You do all your fighting and everything in that area. It's all like just open world, just seamless. You walk up, you see some enemies, walk up, attack them, or try not to get, you know, if they aggro, you can run away from them. You can like, as long as the enemies stay on the screen, you could take quite a while to beat them. Like you could leave and come back, and most of the time, unless they have healing spell, they're still going to be at the same level of like health lost. You can save really easily. You save for free. You just like lay down out front of the inn and you sleep on the ground like a cat would do. And that restores your energy and saves. Yeah. And you can't do that if there's an enemy chasing you. You know, they kind of lock it out. You have to make sure you clear out all the bad guys before you can save. But it's just very, you know, you have these like quest boards, but so far all the quests have made sense like towards the story. Like none of them felt like just go get me some eggs or something, you know, like I thought I'd say eggs again, but you know, nobody's like just go get me this stuff, the end. It always harkens to the quest somehow. So if you don't know what else to do, just find stuff on the quest board, and that'll like advance your overall playthrough. So yeah, it's definitely an action RPG. You just kind of like, there's a roll button, so you like attack and then you roll away, and it shows like an area of effect or whatever where they can reach you. And depending on if it's like a spell that has like a direction it shoots out, it'll show like little arrows to warn you ahead of time to like dodge out of the way. And, you know, oftentimes when you fight a boss, it'll be multiple small enemies at the same time. So you got to learn how to juggle around and draw them away from the group and stuff like that. So it's surprisingly deep for how simple it is, but ultimately it's just a hack and slash action RPG, I would say. You don't really
scratch and slash.
There you go.
Or whatever, scratch and pounce.
The gear is interesting. Like the gear is randomized, I think, to an extent, including like what levels up. Like I don't think you can level anything up. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like things just level up randomly, even if you're not wearing that piece of gear. That will be, you open up a treasure chest and that gear will level up. You know what I mean? So it does sometimes feel like, damn it, I wish the sword I like to use was being upgraded right now. But then when it does happen, it's really great. It makes a huge difference once you're, you know, all of a sudden you're only having to hit some of these early level enemies once, and that's really satisfying. And then you can grind for experience points if you want. I haven't done any grinding yet, but it's there as an option if you want. But I feel like the game's just very streamlined, and it's very clear where you're supposed to go. Like every time you pick up a quest, there's an arrow that you just follow.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, and it just tells you where to go and what to do, and you'll talk to NPCs along the way, but mostly they're just like, oh, now that you're talking to me, now go do this, and then you go do something else, and eventually you complete the quest, and then it unlocks like whatever the next level of the quest is on the board, and usually you just keep doing that until you've done 5 or 6, and then that'll be it for that board. So yeah, there's a lot of little towns. I'd say the story's fairly deep, but you're not getting a whole lot of it from the environment. It's just like, as you like complete your quests, you're getting the story, but it doesn't seem like the environment necessarily, you know, environmental storytelling isn't there as much, I guess. There's some weird statues, but that's about it. But yeah, I'm going to play through. I want to beat it, and then I'll probably play the second one. And you know what?
Yeah, you
Maybe
got
I'll
the
play the
second
third
one,
one.
too.
Third one just came out, or I think it's on Steam or whatever. People are starting to post reviews.
I'll say I don't think it's
Reviews too.
Yeah, I don't know if it's out for Switch yet, but it's close. I thought, but I have 1 and 2. I have 1 and 2 on Switch because they were real cheap. They're selling them for like $1, like really, like a
Yeah, I'd say
like a
play
buck for the
just-
first one.
Boot up Cat Quest, play it for a little while. If it's not for you, I mean, whatever. But I was surprised how long it held my interest, and it's what I've been playing the most when I have time to play is this, because I just was kind of hoping to get to the credits before the episode, but there just appears to be a lot more to do, which is fine with me.
Yeah, I got a lot of games to play. I got a lot of scheduled stuff. Well, I got to get the review out for Fading Afternoon, and then I got to get through Spirit Tracks for a podcast like next week also. So there's a lot of stuff happening. August, it's Cat Quest 3 is coming out August 8th, so it's still got to wait.
So I've seen
Switch.
like reviews and impressions online, but it's probably for Steam.
Yeah. So, but I definitely want to try out 1. I was watching some of the video while you're talking, and it sort of has a little bit of that ease flavor, where you do the attack and roll away and that sort of thing. I guess
that's the whole thing. Attack roll. That's,
yeah.
You can roll through sometimes, but a lot of times you roll away. Otherwise, you're going to get caught in the AoE.
Yeah, the only thing I really saw was the footage of 3 from one of the directs, and that kind of looked more like 2D. But yeah, no.
Yeah, that one's supposed to kind of change up the formula a lot. You're like pirates or something. So I don't know.
brings the pirate
I'm
mechanic
excited.
in. Cool.
But John, yeah, like a lot of times we try to get you to play RPGs. Here's one you could try, and I think you might
For a couple $.
get into it a little more, like because it really is like straight up action game with the combat.
Yeah, I like action RPGs more.
Scratch and pounce. Scratch and purr.
And you're always progressing. Every enemy you fight, you're getting a little stronger. So,
That's cool.
and when
Yeah,
you
I like
die,
to try.
you keep all the stuff you've had. So, like, you don't have to, your quests will like, you have to start your quests over, like whatever quests you were doing. But sometimes you can save in the middle of quests too, and then continue from like the midpoint. So I found that all pretty nice. I never felt like I failed to save and then lost anything. The game just doesn't do that to you. It's just too chill for that.
Probably make a nice breather game or in between game after you beat a.
Oh, absolutely. It's just so simple, but yeah, addictive, I guess, to an extent.
Yeah, I'd be willing to give it a try.
Did you want to talk about your stuff now or after the break? We can do it now, I think.
I mean, all I've been doing is Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty on that. With the rate that you've been going on Tears, I feel like maybe not this expansion pack, but the next expansion pack might have to be like a Tears of the Kingdom spoiler cast or something like that. May have to make me beat it or something like that.
You'd have to get in and start playing it again too.
That's what I mean. Well, I'm talking about maybe July's episode or
Sure.
something like that. Depending on
Put it
how.
on your calendar because I'm on my way.
Yeah, I mean, if I play it again, I'm just going straight to the end. Is what I'm doing. But I just we'll see.
I'm taking the scenic route, and I've been focusing mostly on getting the more Korok seeds and the bullfrogs. I'm finding that really fun, hunting the bullfrogs, which you'll remember that the bullfrogs are located in the caves. So essentially, if you set your sensor to the bullfrog, you'll be finding new caves. So that's been a lot of fun. I think the caves are one of the best parts of this game. There's like
I agree.
1,000 mini dungeons all over the place.
Yeah, the
And
caves
it's
are
just
really
fun
cool.
It's fun to track them down and to figure out what's in there. And sometimes you get some really good stuff in there too. And I came to realize, or maybe I realized it before and just forgot about it, but a good way to find the bullfrogs and to find the caves is actually set your sensor for the bloopies. The bloopies and the bullfrogs they go hand in hand. The bloopies will roam around outside of caves, and when they're spotted, they run back toward the cave entrance. So that's a useful way to find the cave entrances. So what I'll do is I'll set my sensor for the bloopy, which will lead me to the cave entrance, and then when I'm there, set it for the bullfrog and collect the bubble gel or whatever it's called.
Pretty smart.
Bubble gem. Yeah.
Which I believe you trade to the guy for Monster Gear, right? Isn't that what
You
they're
traded
for?
to Kilton for Monster Gear.
The really annoying guy. Those are those little like copy guys, right? Aren't
The
they
little
like,
rabbits.
Aren't they like little
Yep.
rabbits?
Yeah.
Are they called bloopies?
They're called bloopies. Yep. And they
Okay.
spit out.
Out of however
Bloopies.
many hours I put into that game, I didn't know what they were called. I just called
I
them
just thought they were
white,
some kind of
white
rabbit.
bunnies. Yeah.
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 It's like
So
some what do you call it? It's a follow the white rabbit. Like that sort of thing.
So that came about because I had one of the when you go to Kilton, you exchange the bubble gems for monster parts, and the top tier is you start to get a costume, which I forget the name of the costume, but it's a costume. You get the pants, the shirt, and then the hat. And we put this all together. It's going to allow you to exchange. Basically, instead of losing your life, you lose rupees.
Yeah.
So it could be very useful in battle, right? And I just thought, well, I want to get this whole costume. So let me focus on finding the wolf frogs. And that's what sort of led me down that path. And I eventually, I got the whole costume, but I just found the whole process of finding the caves in this method was so fun. I've just been focused on doing that for most of the week. And after you get the costume, turns, you would assume that that is the end of the wolf frogs, and that's like the grand prize or whatever. But when you get the costume, then Kilton just starts to tell you how many wolf frogs are left, and it's like an astounding amount. There's so many. There's so many. Currently, I have 75 left to go, so I have a lot of work left to do.
Are you planning on getting all of them?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm enjoying the process. It just makes me not necessarily want to get all of them, but I'm kind of like, why rush to the end of the game? Because I'm enjoying the process this way so much. Like maybe one day I focus on just doing this, but then it leads me to something else interesting, inevitably, as it does in this game. You set up out on one goal, and you find 5 other interesting goals in the process. But I think it's just like a nice way to play it. Like focus on doing this thing to find the wolf frogs, and then I'm also gradually making my way through the story along the way, because inevitably I found the last tier that way. I just happened upon it rather than like searching out specifically for that tier as I had done before. Sometimes you get kind of frustrated because like, where is this geoglyph or whatever? There's so much in this game that's just, it's almost better to just leave it to chance to happen upon these things. Like try to focus on the things that there's like a tested pattern for finding, and then you're going to find the other stuff incidentally along the way. So that's sort of been my strategy. Maybe I'll get all of them, maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm enjoying it this way. I'm kind of tempted now to make my way to the desert to finish the last whatever you call it,
Dungeon.
Divine Beast.
the last dungeon. Yep.
Did you do the depths dungeon? Did you do
depths dungeon?
There's that one in the depths where you have to build a person or something. That I never did that one. That was where I was when I quit.
To build a person.
I've done that.
You got to build
I've
a
done
thing or a body or something like that. I know you have. You beat it. You did all the things.
Yeah, I don't know. I still got some of the depths to go through. I've got like a diagonal slash from the top left to the bottom to go through. And I've got the rest of it all done already. But I haven't been in the depths for a couple of days. Yeah, I'm taking my time and just enjoying it. But that brings me to my total hour count. So last week, I think when I was on the show, I know I crossed 300. I think I was at like 305 or 310 or something like that. But as of right now, I'm at 340.
Wow.
So I played a lot this week.
Yeah, I mean that's
Mostly bubble frogs.
Yep.
I think I got to the point where the guy told me how many I had left, and yeah, it was a lot, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna try to find all this. I remember getting.
And then today I kind of focused on finding costumes. So I found a couple of good ones. I found most of Tingle's costume. So I got to find the hat. The best one I found was the Fierce Deity costume. The whole thing that was a fun thing to find. And I got the sword too. So that was a fun thing. Like you set up on there's some bandit who's like leaving notes for you and stuff around, and you got to follow these guys who are trying to find the treasure, and of course you get the scoop on them and all that. Find it before they do. That was a lot of fun.
I will say, thinking back to this game, I remember there's this whole quest where you have to get in your underwear or something. I never found that quest.
You have to get your underwear?
Where you have to like get down into your underwear to go into this cave or something.
Where you have to lose all your stuff or you can't have anything equipped, like that sort of thing?
I think you can't have anything equipped because like you show up and they're just in their underwear, these like two NPCs. But I don't.
Oh, are you talking about
the?
Well, I remember there were there were like the characters
the guys
that
in their
were
underwear, yeah.
They were wearing their underwear because like somebody told them to or something like that. Or
Okay.
I thought it was something with the story. I remember that too, but I don't remember how far I got into it.
Yeah, I got there too. I don't remember what it was other than the bunch of guys wearing their underwear.
I thought it had something to do with like the fake Zelda or whatever told them to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was kind of part of the main story.
Yeah.
Maybe it was them.
Yeah. Kind of, I don't know. But there's probably a side quest involved with the underwear people or whatever. On top
I think they were like comically misreading one of the stone slabs or something.
It's probably some. I mean, it was obviously a comic thing, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, great game. A minute till the end.
I remember last year, right after it came out, while I was playing it, one of my favorite things to do was like there's this YouTube channel. I think every day it had a video that was a compilation of like all the best machines that people had built. And that was so interesting.
That was like every YouTube channel at that time. there was a lot of people doing that. I know like when Nintendo Life and Game Explain were doing like their own like, I mean, when MVC became like Talk of the Kingdom or whatever for like 6 episodes or something like that. But a lot of people were doing that. But one of them was, there was one. It was one of those. It was like Game Explain or one of those where they were like, here's the weirdest shit that people have done on Tears of the Kingdom.
Some of the tanks and stuff people build there is incredible.
Yeah, I don't know if I had the patience to build something huge and complicated.
Yeah,
like that. It almost makes me wish there was some sharing element to this game.
Well,
you play online, like share each other's.
You got to record it and put it on YouTube. That's what you got to do, or whatever else. That's what
would have been cool.
Was sharing, I guess.
What if there was an Animal Crossing element where you were like, you have your own schematics that you've built this crazy new thing. You could just like put it in a bottle and send it out to sea, and maybe one of your friends picks it up on the shore or something. That'd be really cool. Would have been cool.
Well, that'd be like Wind Waker also, like the Wind Waker HD game, the Wii U one. You could do that where you could pick up stuff, the message in the bottle stuff, where you could see pictures from other people's games and all that. It would actually help you get all of the statues as well, which is a big thing about that. So you could take it to the dude. In case you forgot to take a picture of whatever boss, you'd be like, oh, there it is.
But yeah, it's hard to find complaints about this game. It's more like just the best you can do is ideas for, that are to add on to the other great ideas they've already added in. So I don't have any complaints about this game. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, it's the best game on the Switch.
Fighting words. No, I mean, it's a lot of people like that one. I mean, it's pretty good. Anyway, why don't we take a break and then we'll come back and talk about the news and the beginning of the E0 and all that. Don't you dare hit that 30-second forward button. Tired of hearing ads on here? Well, if you donate to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast, you can get rid of the ads. You can listen to the new episodes ad-free, and you can hear all of the secret stuff that we've been doing on there. Also, you just have one RSS feed to hear everything that you want to hear from the NintenDomain podcast network. What are you waiting for? Go there now. Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast, where you can hear new podcasts the way God intended them to be. With no ads and a higher bit rate, you'll even get to hear the episodes earlier than the free feed. Check it out. right. Anyway, we're back from the break. As I said at the very top of the show, we are now entering E0.
News. Don't snooze or you miss the news.
Or E Phantom. Is that what we called it? E0? Now that E3 doesn't
E0.
exist anymore. But bring on all of the directs and presentations and whatnot and all that sort of thing. I guess what I was going to ask is, did you watch the State of Play, Jeremy? Did you watch any of the PlayStation stuff?
I watched some of the clips from it, and I did see one game that I was very interested in.
Oh, was it the robot one?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's the one that I cared about too. I watched it. I think I put it on in the background, probably while I was editing. But the robot one actually looked pretty dope. It looked like it looked like,
like Galaxy or something.
Yeah, like a Mario game. So it
looks like a Mario game.
But it had a lot of fun. Kind of had like some fun like Sony references in there too. Like they're like
Parappa.
There's some Parappa the Rapper and Kratos, like the robot dressed like has like the whatever, the red thing down the face and all that.
Right. So if you have a PS5, sadly it's only on PS5, but Astro's Playroom's a free game you can download, and it was made as a tech demo
For the haptics, right?
for the controller and the haptics and stuff, and just kind of showed what it could do. It's got all the HD rumble and stuff, and as it was a lot like Galaxy, where certain like levels you'll just take out this one mechanic and use it for a little while, like tilting the controller to move or something. And I just remember having a blast with it, and it's over before it's only a couple hours long, but for a tech demo and for a free one at that, it's pretty fun. So I really think they were like kind of testing the waters to see how people would react, and they're like, okay, let's just go ahead, let's greenlight this for a full game, and I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be good.
I thought it looked cool. Yeah, it was the one thing that I cared about, and it looked, it did remind me a lot of Nintendo stuff, but it looked really cool. Like that's like the ship that's shaped like the PlayStation 5 controller, and there's also like the console of the PS5 is a part of it too. And I like that they kind of just, it's like how you could like how like the Dreamcast controller was unlockable in like one of the Sonic and Sega All-Stars racing games, like that sort of fun. Like where it's like let's just make it a game. Let's just have fun with it and just have bring like that sort of thing into it. And it looked cool when I saw of it.
Yeah, the character to me kind of looks like, well, Sackboy didn't really take off as planned, and so let's reinvent that, and maybe Sony has a chance at a mascot after 30 years.
Hey, Sackboy had a few games.
Sackboy had a few, but they kind of,
I mean, there was a couple of those. I forget what was the floaty like a 2D game that they had where you could like make your own games. There was that one.
Big Planet.
Yeah, Little Big Planet. But there was like a Little Big Planet like racing game that Sackboy was in. Like he had a good amount of outings, and I think he was in the PlayStation Smash Brothers clone also, the PlayStation All-Stars. I think Sackboy was in that also. That was a weird game. Like the Big Daddy from BioShock was a character in that. It was just like some of the choices were just weird, and like Nathan Drake, and like it's like what the fuck. Yeah, it was a weird ass game, and I think Parappa was in there too. And it wasn't even, you didn't knock them out of the stage. You just like had to deplete their health. I have that game. I bought it on PS3. I totally played that shit, and it was weird. It was a weird game. It wasn't right there, but I tried it. I tried it out. But yeah, that's kind of the beginning of it. There was a Marvelous Direct also, which I didn't really watch any of it. I kind of forgot about it, but they, I guess they showed some more of the what's it called? It's not Deus Ex Machina. It's Demon Ex Machina, the giant robot game, which is a Switch exclusive, and I was pretty sure that the sequel to Demon Ex Machina, I thought it was announced on a Nintendo Direct when it originally was announced, like years ago. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Switch. I mean, who knows?
Maybe
whatever else, but I'm pretty sure that it was on a Nintendo Direct when they first showed it, because we saw it like a few years ago. So
the sequel is called Demon Ex Machina Titanic Scion.
Yeah. We saw it. I thought it was at the end. I felt like it was the one more thing on one of like the indie directs or something like that. I'm pretty sure we've seen it elsewhere. But yeah, it's gonna. What is it? Like Summer Game Fest is like already. It's like this week, right? It's like on Friday or something like that. Whenever the 7th is. It's like right. It's like that's Friday. It's like right around the corner. So we're gonna be hit left and right with all the directs. And I figured. I'm guessing. I mean, Nintendo's has to be next week, right? On the 12th. This is what I'm guessing. If I was a betting person, I would put money on the 12th.
I seem to remember last year they were like after everybody else kind of had theirs, maybe by a week or two.
Well, I mean, when E3 still existed, Nintendo was normally at the end of the big like events. Like they would normally close out the week. So, and I don't know. It seems obviously it's not happening this week because we would have heard about it already. It just seemed kind of right for the second week to me. I guess I don't know. We got Adam Copeland dropping on AEW Fight Forever on the 12th too. Maybe they'll sweeten it up extra, put it in the direct or something like that. They probably never would, but you know, I figured the 12th seemed like a solid day for a Nintendo Direct.
I think that there's a lot of these things going on. You know, Sony's done theirs. That's out of the way. The one that Nintendo would want to stay out of the way of, that's the biggest one, is probably the Summer Games Fest one. What's the date on that one?
That's Friday. That's this Friday.
That's Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing a week to 2 weeks from theirs. I think Nintendo wants to wait till they want to do the Blue Ocean strategy on their directs and not compete with anybody a week to 2 weeks after that.
I think the 12th. I'm saying the 12th right here. You can quote me on it because it's on this podcast.
Huh.
We'll see it next week, next Wednesday.
I'm going to say more towards the end of the month, but just to be...
The 19th? I think it's going to be a Wednesday. Because
20-something.
I mean, for the most part, it's been... I mean, most of the time, the directs have been on a Wednesday. If not a Wednesday, a Tuesday. Sometimes Thursday, but rarely. Like, most of the time, it kind of falls in line with our recording schedule and all that. You know, we watch it, and then we talk about it. So I'm guessing.
I also wouldn't be surprised if they do, like, you know, maybe Pokemon has their own and Nintendo has like a small one and like maybe there's some other like focused ones. But yeah, let's find out what's coming out for the rest of the year. That'd be nice.
So yeah, according to, what was it, sidequesting.com is the website that I put on the Slack, just because it kind of had everything laid out. So I guess IGN's big event is starting on Friday too, like IGN Live or whatever it's called, IGN Expo. But yeah, Summer Game Fest is on Friday also, and Day of the Devs is right after that, which I remember last year, Day of the Devs was way more interesting than Summer Game Fest. Well, because Keeley's not on that one, and it's more about indie games, so it's less like, here's a bunch of games that won't release for the next 5 years that we'll show, you know, and it was stuff that was more, even though those Day of the Dev ones, I'm still waiting on that Fly game that never came out. Remember the Fly game where you only live for like a minute? Like that one looked really cool. Yeah. I'm still waiting on that game. But you never know with those indie ones, you know. But yeah, we're kind of in that spot, in that space. So for the next like however many episodes, I'm sure we'll be talking about all of the fucking directs and all that. But let's talk about the games that released this week real quick. We already talked about Star Wars Hunters. It's out now. Get it for free. Kitty 64, another Nintendo 64 wannabe, is out for $4.99. It looked okay. I don't know.
This like cat games are all the rage.
Oh yeah. Well, there's already been quite a few of them on Switch, and
that's true.
I do like cats, so why not? Downward Enhanced looked kind of interesting. It kind of reminded me of like Mirror's Edge, like that sort of thing, kind of like a first-person platformy thing. We already mentioned Fading Afternoon by Yeo. Check out that game. Like I said, his games I think are very good. This one I'm really interested in. It's not out yet. I think it's coming out on Friday. But Rider Spirits. It basically kind of looks like Mario Kart. It's a Mode 7 game. It was a Japanese only game. Might have been Super Famicom, but it's getting its first American release. It's only like $6, so it's pretty cheap. And they're actually fully translated it, so you know, better than those egg console ones that are all in Japanese. But no, I saw it mentioned in one of the Switch Up things, and I was like, oh, I should get that. Like, that looks cool. It has little, like, you know, characters with names and all that, and sprites, and they look like, it kind of looks like, it almost looks like a motorcycle game, but it's not, you know, it doesn't have, like, the leaning and all that, but it kind of looks like you're riding on, like, a two-wheel thing, and I don't know, it definitely had that, looked like that, you know, that old school Super Nintendo graphics stuff that I really enjoy, so I was like, hey, there it is. Let's see, what else do we got for news here?
Midori's made a bunch of claims, including that the Crazy Taxi remake is coming 2027.
Some pretty out there claims.
That's way too far.
2027. Yeah. I was like, Crazy Taxi? Does it need that much development time? You know,
that's why no one ever orders taxis anymore. They take too long to get there.
Yeah, they take 3 years to get here or whatever. Yeah, it's like 2027. Like that's like, I don't know.
I mean, if that's true, then I wish I hadn't even heard of that. You know, come on. But Sega made the big announcement that they're doing all these different games. If it's 2027, I'm going to be kind of pissed.
What I thought was kind of funny about the Midori thing was like, And they're also like, oh yeah, and also Golden Axe in 2023. And I was like, wait, that already happened. I know they were saying that
it was supposed to be in
yeah, it was delayed,
yeah.
but I just thought
Yeah,
it was kind of funny just looking at it. I was like, wait, hold on. Did I miss the Golden Axe game? Did that already happen? And I forgot about it?
They also said that Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi games as a service are still planned. So I guess that means there's 2 Crazy Taxi games in development, and one of them is a games as a service.
Does that mean it's like a free-to-play Crazy Taxi or something, where you got to get to level 7 before you can actually pick up people on the streets?
Right.
You have to just start with just driving around, just learning the roads.
You just do food delivery at first.
I would love for them to do a Crazy Taxi food delivery thing, which actually I think they did in the last Yakuza game, or Like a Dragon game, because it's called like Crazy Delivery or something like that, or it's supposed to be a reference to Crazy Taxi, but you basically are like doing, app delivery stuff, but it's supposed to be like Crazy Taxi. I would love for them to take that, from what they did from Infinite Wealth and just make that its own game. Like I would, and there are like delivery games on the Switch, but they all kind of look like really cheap, not great games. But I want a realistic one where you have to go out in the weather to try to hopefully make $100 while you're out there, and hope your car doesn't break down or whatever.
Maybe they could add a mechanic where like if you don't drive right, like the soup spills or something.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they should pack it right. I mean, I understand. I guess it's more complicated if you're using a bike. I remember my old roommate, Dan, would say that. He's like, if you're ordering soup, then no dice, you're not getting it, because he had this whole bike delivery thing. But most of the time they pack it pretty well where it's, if you're not delivering like Spider-Man delivers pizza and Spider-Man 2 on Gamecube, you'll be fine. You're not like doing flips and shit. It should end up right when you get there, I always thought that was speaking of food delivery in games, that'd be a fun expansion pack episode too. We could talk about food delivery stuff. But Spider-Man 2 on GameCube, you had to deliver pizzas, and how many times you flipped, the pizza would get messed up. So if you flipped too many times, you'd get like complaints when you got there because the pizza would be all fucked up. And it had a little icon of the pizza in the corner, and it showed it like coming apart, like as you would. That was an awesome game, Spider-Man 2. Yeah, GameCube. I still got that game. That game was badass. Voiceover, Bruce Campbell did the voiceover of the tutorial on that. Well, he did the voiceover on all the Sam Raimi games.
And doesn't have the Evanescence video as an extra. That
was in Daredevil. We talked about this before. What was it? What's his face? Chris Carrabba was in the second one. Dashboard Confessionals.
Oh, Vindicated.
Yeah, the Dashboard song was in Spider-Man. Evanescence was in Daredevil.
Oh,
with Ben Affleck. But yeah, what else do we have on the news?
Toomba is coming to Switch. That was announced before, but we got a release date. That's coming on August 1st. And I'm interested in this one because I've been interested in this game ever since I read a positive review in GamePro magazine back in like 1998 or something. This game looks pretty cool.
It looks kind of fun. I mean, you throw pigs at people and you got pink hair.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's well regarded.
Tamba or whatever it's called.
Definitely the art looks familiar. Like I've seen this character in advertising and stuff before.
Yeah, it looks like I might check it out. I don't know.
I'll be the guinea pig on this one.
Tamba Chicken Thrower.
Palmer Luckey is now selling pixel perfect ultra bright magnesium Game Boys for $199.
Yep. What's a magnesium Game Boy? How does that compare to the regular plastic ones that we have?
Well, it's more like a competitor to the what's the fancy one that everybody
Analog
likes?
Pocket.
Analog.
The Analog Pocket. Yeah, it's a competitor to that. And I read a quote from him. Basically, this is just like he kind of started out as a Game Boy modder back when he was a teenager. And this is sort of a passion project to his. He's not trying to like do this forever, he says, but he just wanted to make the coolest Game Boy that he could. And so, I guess the selling point versus the Analog Pocket, he says that the screen is more accurate, the colors are more accurate to the original Game Boy.
I don't know. People love those analog ones. Like I actually never heard of this thing, and I don't know who Palmer Luckey is.
He's the founder of
invented
Oculus.
the Oculus. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like
didn't he buy the PlayStation, the Nintendo PlayStation, or was that someone?
He did buy that. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I hadn't even heard about this, but I mean, well, the Analog Pocket, that was done by the people who did like the those HD Super Nintendo and NES before that, which people have sworn by, like people we know, podcasters and all that. So
here's the stats on the
didn't
thing.
really see anything on this one.
It's got a magnesium alloy case, sapphire crystal covered glass, PBT buttons. I don't know what those are. A pixel perfect IPS screen at the same size, resolution, and pixel structure as the original Game Boy and Game Boy Color. Color match to the Game Boy Color screen, and with well over 1,000 nits of brightness, so you can play outside in the sunlight.
But does
You
it
play Boktai.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Does it supply sunlight for you if you're playing something that requires sunlight, like Boktai? What I want to know is, does it have Super Game Boy options? Because I'm pretty sure that the Analog Pocket does. Like from what I heard, like actually has like that where you can have all the different color options, including the Super Game Boy one, which is pretty amazing. I mean, they didn't talk about their nits of color or whatever the fuck that was, but I mean, if you have the different, where you can do it like here, so let's do it on the game, but what it would look like on the Game Boy Advance, or what it would look like on Game Boy Color, or what it would look like on Super Game Boy. I think that's awesome. And that was something that I remembered because, as I mentioned before, I lost my Super Game Boy. So any way that I could relive that Super Game Boy greatness would be great. But I would still probably, if I was going to get one, I'd go for the analog.
Yeah, it didn't say anything regarding that, but it seems like they're going for all the details. Like it's got link cable support and all that kind of stuff, and it includes a fully licensed Tetris game, a new Tetris game.
Oh yeah,
about time we got a new Tetris game.
yeah. I guess Tetris 99 and that other one. There's the other Tetris that's on Switch. There's a billion.
The Tetris, I know what you're talking about. The really pretty one.
Yeah, the 2-player one, or the one that I forget what it's called. I should remember it.
So that's cool.
I mean, it worked for the Sega Genesis Mini. Like that had a Tetris game that had not been released before, so why not? And I have that game. Well, I got the Japanese. I got the Mega Drive version. But
it says the screen was developed in house and it's based on aviation panel technology. That's why it's so bright. It's definitely like the most premium like Game Boy you can get, right?
I still think the analog looks a little bit slicker though. Like just in its design. I don't know.
Well, the analog is also like a full-on emulation machine. It's not just a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Like you could put cores from all different consoles on it.
Yeah, you can even play. I mean, you can even play like what was it? You can play like the TurboGrafx portable, like with an adapter and stuff like that. There's a bunch other and Game Gear and other things.
Amazon's got a live-action Like a Dragon Yakuza series coming this fall. What do you think about that, Trey?
Oh yeah, so I saw this. It was weird because all of a sudden it was everywhere, and I guess there was whatever RGG or the Japanese, how you say Like a Dragon in Japanese, their company. There was a meeting that they had where they just announced that, I guess, and all of a sudden I saw it all over the social medias, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I even put it on Slack. I was like, did this get announced and I just ignored it, or like what the fuck? But yeah, no, I guess it has like a date already too. So yeah, they're doing a Like a Dragon Yakuza show that's going to have like 6 or 7 episodes or something like that, and it's coming to Amazon Prime. It's an Amazon Prime original, and I was just kind of like, I was like, wait, what the fuck? And it's coming out in October, I think like second week of October, and I was just like, okay. But I looked into it. I looked at IGN's article about it, and it looks like we got a Japanese director, we have Japanese actor, and all that. It's
in Japanese, not in English.
That's good.
That's great.
Yeah, I was like, well, they should have got the people who did Tokyo Vice to do it, because that show was really good, and that really felt like a Yakuza thing. But no, I don't know. From what I could tell, it's going to take place between 2 different timelines, and there's going to be Kiryu and a bunch of different friends. So I'm pretty sure that Majima is going to be in there, but it's supposed to be in between 95 and 2005, and I guess it's going to bounce in between the 2 timelines. Is what it's going to do. So that kind of sounds like any of the Yakuza games before it became like a Dragon. So I mean, that kind of fits. And they're gonna, recreate Kamurocho and all that. So hopefully they're gonna shoot it in Shinjuku, because that's where all that is based on. So
it's got a potential to be a great show.
I'm interested. I mean, those games are heavy on story. So you got a lot of story there, and it seemed like from what I read from what the director was saying that he kind of understood the story and all that. As long as you gotta make it about if they're doing the story of the first one, You got to make it about like Kiryu and Haruka. Like that's where the heart was of the original Yakuza. If you don't have that, then what are you doing? Like I watched the I watched the Takashi Miike Yakuza movie, the Japanese one. Like I ordered that and watched that, and it wasn't quite there because we have this whole other couple that has nothing to do with Yakuza that they bring in there. That's kind of the focal point, and not Kiryu and Haruka and all that. And I'm like, you're missing the point here. The point was that he's like a fucking Yakuza dude that has no parents, and he like finds this kid that, you know, becomes his heart or whatever, and that's how he doesn't want to kill himself anymore. It's like the same. It's like Fading Afternoon, you know. It's the same idea. He gets out of jail, he doesn't know what to do with himself, and he has no purpose, and then he meets this kid, you know, and adopts her, and that becomes his whole thing. He starts an orphanage later in the later Yakuza games. Like that's what you should be doing there. But yeah, no. If they make it like half as cool as the games are, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like if they can get like 60% of the greatness of those Yakuza games, as long as they can do the balance of like the silliness and the seriousness, it could be like really, really fun. I don't know how you can do that in a TV show, but if they could do that, then you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it, John, if they can capture some of the beauty of the Yakuza games. And then maybe eventually we'll get some on Switch. I know the guy who doesn't work for them anymore said that the Switch was like a toy or whatever, and they didn't want to be on that, but he doesn't work for the company anymore. So maybe Switch 2, we can get some fucking Yakuza games on here. Come on. Seriously, that's the sake of losing money there. Like you could make a collection, put like Yakuza 1 through 8 or whatever.
They would do really well on the Switch.
You make a ton of money. Yeah, no, people will play the shit out of that. Me too, even though I already have them on the PlayStation. I get them again because I love those games. You know, they do all the Kiwami like re-releases and all the remakes and all that. I thought he was still butthurt about the Wii U, because the Wii U had a Yakuza 1 and 2 in Japan only released, and I guess it didn't do that well, but it was only released in Japan and on the Wii U. Come on, you know, like they would have done gangbusters on Switch. Even if you released the fucking PlayStation 2 versions of Yakuza 1 and 2, they'd sell a ton on Switch. You know, Go for it. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see that show. I'm definitely going to watch that all the way through.
Netflix's Tomb Raider animated series is launching in October, on October 10th. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I mean,
who plays Lara Croft?
The voice? I don't know. Have they announced the voice?
Oh, is it a like
it's animated?
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't care. I just was wondering who the actor was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really don't care. I don't care about an animated show. I still
Tomb Raider. No,
you don't care about Tomb Raider.
I like the games. I don't care about the movies. I mean, we'll see. I still got to get through that. Still got to get through those originals that I kind of stopped playing just because they were like Balatro. They just took hold of me and wouldn't let go. So I was like, I didn't want to, because I knew if I started playing it, I'd play it for like 10 hours or something.
So we got an anniversary this week. In just 6 more years, Mario Kart 8 can get its driver's license.
So yeah,
this Mario Kart 8 is 10 years old.
And that was last week, so it's 10 years in a week. I've been saying this for a while, like when, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still the number one selling game on Switch. I was like, that game's almost 10 years old. And now it is 10 years old officially. Mario Kart 8. People forget that it was, I mean, we don't, but other people forget that it was a Wii U game. I remember it came out around my birthday, so yeah, it would have been like towards the end of May. And yeah, 10 years of Mario Kart 8. Like straight up, vanilla Mario Kart 8 before the Deluxe.
10 years of the Luigi Death Stare.
Yeah. 10 years of the best Mario Kart there is. And we agreed with that. We did a Mario Kart ranking. Mario Kart 8, obviously, is the best one.
What if they ever do 9? That'd be cool.
Yeah, but now we need 9, is what I'm saying. Now that we got that, we definitely need... Give us a number 9, please. I mean, yeah, 10 years.
I don't know what they're going to do. Like, you can transport through the track or something. Like, what's going to be the new mechanic? Because it seems like everything is in there already.
Well, you could have 2 people on one cart again.
That's true.
We could bring back...
you could split into 2 carts.
I don't know.
They'll probably just open it up and make it Super Smash Kart, essentially.
I mean, I'd like to...
That'll be the big...
I'd like to see a Nintendo Kart. Yeah, Nintendo Kart where we bring... Well, because we already had that kind of with the DLC stuff, because we got the Animal Crossing, and we got the Legend of Zelda level, and we got the F-Zero level in there as well. Like, yeah, let's bring... It's
already Nintendo Kart.
Let's bring some more Nintendo stuff in there. Let's bring some Kirby Air Ride stuff in there, like that sort of thing. Like, bring Kirby in, Let's bring Star Fox in there.
Do like an updated battle mode.
We could do some races based on Star Fox levels.
If they just did that, I've said that time and again. If they just do a proper, like, great battle mode for once.
Well, they did actually. Like, I mean, the Switch version.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the Switch version, they did actually add battle mode. That was the big deluxe part of it, was that they changed up all the battles, because the battles in Mario Kart 8 10 years ago were awful. It was basically, they took the same tracks that you raced on, but you fought in them too. But in Deluxe, they did actually put like proper battle modes in there, and they did actually bring back those levels that you remember that you loved from 64 and all that. They're on there. You could play it. You have it. You own it already. It's in your apartment. But so they did do that.
I
want a battle mode that's more like Smash.
Yeah, exactly. I want something that's more like, hey, this is actually not just a side piece to the main game. I think there's potential for it to be the other half of the game, like just as good. They've never quite lived up to that. And I don't know. To me, most of the arenas aren't great. There's a couple that are really good, but I don't know. I just see the potential in battle mode ever since the inception of Mario Kart, and they've just never quite gotten there for me. So every time a new one comes out, I hope, and this one, whatever the next one is, please just make that the focus. Make it a great battle mode.
I mean, what do you mean by Smash Brothers? Like you would hit the stick over really quickly to smack people off of the track?
So I'm thinking like, what if instead of the balloons, you actually had the damage kind of like in Smash, and then you got bumped back further when someone ran into you or something like that?
Oh, that could be interesting.
Where you could like,
where they could
you're weaker.
They should shoot you off the track though, like in Smash Brothers, where it's like, or you can like hit the camera somehow, like in Smash. That'd be funny.
I'd say knocking people off the track should be part of it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I do like that idea though. I like the idea of a damage meter for Mario Kart. Where you get hit and you get far and far. But I don't think. I mean, for me, like so yeah, battle mode was fun enough when I was in high school, like for Mario Kart. But then later, as I got older, it was all the racing for me. But I'm the racing person, and battle mode kind of fell to the side for me. I didn't really care that much anymore. And if Mario Kart 9 was all battle, then I'd be like, fuck you. I want a different one. So if I don't want it to be
all battle, I want it to be 50-50.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like nobody cares about battle anymore. Maybe if they make it better. I mean, I want it to be like I don't know. If they're going to do it right, I want it to almost be like deathmatch, like a first-person shooter deathmatch, but in a car, like that sort of thing, or maybe even almost like Twisted Metal or that sort of thing. Like
just go full circle
as its own. Yeah, go back to the PlayStation stuff that it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just have more like metagame type stuff where you got these different options to like psych the other players out, and you're keeping stats on different things, and like it could be like you said, basically a first person shooter, but with Mario Kart, and there's a lot of potential there. I don't know. I see it. Nintendo, why don't you see it? Why don't you make it happen, please?
I mean, we got the Mad Max movie that just came out. I know it didn't do as well as it should have, but let's just go with that. Let's have our Mario Karts be Mad Mario. But no, wouldn't it be cool if it was like a battle thing where you could like, you could level up and you could make your kart better, and you could like get different stuff to attack people with, or you'd have a little guy like walk around and fix your car like while you're getting attacked. Like that'd be cool. Like, but make it all like
Waluigi strapped to the roof.
Mario Kart Fury Road.
Maybe everybody has their own like Lakitu that is their like their pit crew.
Yeah. Well, I guess you would need like if you want like the guitar guy, you need like Lemmy, or you need like the rock and roll the whatever they're called, the
rock and roll Koopa Kids.
The Koopa Kids, yeah. Yep. Like Iggy, and the ones that are, well, actually most of them, they're all based off based off rockers, right? Pretty much, or musicians and whatnot. True, you need Wendy O from the Plasmatics. Get her on there. Like that's just, she was named after a very cool punk rock singer. But Mario Kart 9. Hopefully someday we'll see that. But what we will see this weekend, which I'm excited about, the thing that I've yelled about annoyingly many times on this show, we're getting another big run, finally, on Splatoon 3. And I will be playing that this weekend, so hooray. For anybody who doesn't know, that's the salmon run, but it's much bigger.
Like Kaiju salmon run.
Yeah. I will boot up my Splatoon again for that, so... It was pretty cool. I got like an email directly, from Nintendo that was like from Grizzco or whatever, and from Mr. Grizz, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, oh no, we got a big run. We got a big run coming. And I'm like, oh, let's go. Let's do this. So yeah, I'm excited. I love that big run. So I will, be playing that this weekend for sure. That was it last weekend. I was, when I was playing a lot of Paper Mario, and I was like, why is there not an event this weekend? I felt like I was missing something. I was like, there's no Tetris. There's no nothing. Like, what's happening? But then we got Big Run, so they brought it back around. So hooray!
Last one that I want to mention, just because it's kind of like end of an era. Nintendo of America has updated its sign outside of its building. If you remember what it looked like before, it was kind of like white, and there was a moment there around the Wii when Nintendo went like full Apple and everything had to be like white and sleek and all that. If you've seen the new sign, it's great. It's like back to the bright red Nintendo of yore. It's, just back to being fun again. We're not trying to impress everybody with, our Appleness or whatever. So very cool. Nintendo being Nintendo. Bright red sign. Good on you.
Yeah, it looks plastic.
Trombone Champ has got another update. I just thought it was funny that they just keep adding more songs
like in the
to
dead
it.
of night, right? Didn't you say it happened in like the dead of night that they updated it?
Oh, no, I mean, I just saw it was posted Tuesday. It was posted on Tuesday, but yeah, they're still adding songs to it. They got 3 more songs on there, so start up your Trombone Champ again. I just like that they're still just still tromboning, still putting it on for anybody who cares about Trombone Champ. It's still there.
Give some Nintendo songs anytime.
Just tromboning away. There was another thing that I saw.
Double Dragon collection. I'm split about this one. I mean, I love the Double Dragon games, and they've got all the old ones compiled in one. But
so that's like what 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and Super Double Dragon. I guess 4 wouldn't be, because 4 was a different. I get kind of confused after the third. So there was Double Dragon 1, 2, and 3 on NES, and then there was Super Double Dragon. But wasn't 4 like a fighting game? Like there was one that had a
4 was not a fight. So there was
one that was a fighting game that had a number on it on Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And I think that was 4. And then 5 was the one that you hated that came out on Switch.
No, 4 is the one that came out on Switch. I'm not saying that the other one wasn't called Double Dragon 4 or whatever, but there's Double Dragon 4.
Oh yeah, no, Double Dragon 4 was on Switch. So maybe it was 5 that was the fighting game, because there was one that was confusing. Oh yeah, no, it's 5. So that makes it even more confusing. So there's Double Dragon 1, 2, and 3 on NES. There's Super Double Dragon on Super Nintendo, and then there's Double Dragon 5 on Super Nintendo. So they were then
assuming that Super Double Dragon was number 4, and then retroactively in 2017 they made something called Double Dragon 4. That's really confusing.
Yeah, it's a funny story.
That game just pissed me off even more.
So I played Super Double Dragon on an emulator when I was in college with my roommate Tony, and Super Double Dragon is awesome. Like it's a great game, and I wanted to buy the Super Nintendo game, and I was confused also as to what number it was. So I accidentally ordered Double Dragon 5 for Super Nintendo, and I ended up returning it back to the person I bought from eBay, and they were pissed about it. And I was like, I bought the wrong one. I'm sorry, I was confused. I want Super Double Dragon. And they were not happy with me, and I think I got a bad rating or whatever on my eBay. So that's what happened. But is Double Dragon 5 in the collection? The fighting game?
No.
So what do you get? You just get the NES one and the Super Nintendo one?
No, you get 1 through 3. You get Super Double Dragon. You get Double Dragon Advance and Double Dragon 4, the 2017 game.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like... Yeah, a lot of these, I guess all of these are available on, Nintendo Switch Online has 1 and 2, not 3.
Yeah.
But you can also buy Super Double Dragon and Double Dragon Advance separately on the eShop for a couple bucks, like $6 maybe each, something like that. So
you can pre-order this now. It's $40, unfortunately. I think that's way too much. That's for the physical version. If the digital version is $40, I'm out. I mean, I can't imagine this company is going to add a whole lot of, extra stuff and, be like the Atari 50 of Double Dragon or anything. like that, because this company, to me, is mishandling the property. I think Double Dragon 4, which they made, was terrible. The newer one, Rise of the Dragons, whatever it's called, just totally misses the mark visually. I've not played it. It's just like, I don't want to play this like cutesy chibi Double Dragon. I want some badass Double Dragon 2 cover art Double Dragon, please.
Well, you sound like what I've talked about Double Dragon Battletoads, where I didn't want this chibi Battletoads in my Double Dragon Battletoads game. But no, apparently that
was more Battletoads than Double Dragon. That more took on the visual style of Battletoads. Yeah.
But the Battletoads look cheapy. I don't like the way it looked. But no, apparently that Double Dragon one that has a weird art style is really good. Like, I've heard great things from Shake and Joe about it. Like, they love that game, and it has multiple endings also. And apparently it's really, really good. The story's great. They keep adding new characters onto it for free as well. So, I mean, I'm more excited about that one than any other Double Dragon thing that has happened since then. It was on sale for $15, and I just didn't have the cash to get it at the time, but I'm going to get it at some point.
Maybe I'll be able to pick it up and give it a try, because I do love the series. But man, that art style is right there on the box. Everybody loves that iconic Double Dragon 2 cover art. Like, make a game that looks exactly like that, please. We need it.
For sure. I think let me do one more thing and then we'll be done. So they're doing a sequel to the first-person shooter, Void Bastards, which was actually made by some of the people who worked on BioShock originally. I actually tried to interview these guys for our show, and they turned us down because they were too busy during the release of Void Bastards. But it was a weird first-person shooter. It's like a roguelike type thing. I actually have it, and I always liked the way it looked, but they're making a sequel to it called Wild Bastards. And if you get a chance, take a look at the trailer for that. The characters look really weird. It's not in the space anymore. Now it's like in all these different locations, and it actually looks really cool. It kind of looks like what I like, the weird first-person shootery type stuff, and all the characters look really fun in there. And there's a character called Spider Rosa, which I was like, that's got to be a reference to Thunder Rosa from AEW, because it's change a couple letters around, and you got Thunder Rosa on there. She kind of looks like Thunder Rosa. Well, I was like, all right, but no, that's got a release date for the 12th of September, so I'm excited about that. But I still got to get through that other first-person shooter game that I love, Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer, which hopefully I have enough time to get through that at some point. But yeah, I think we're good for this episode. Thanks to everybody for listening all the way through and listening to us at all and all that to episode 425. And you can find us on Twitter for a couple more days, right? Because the 10th is right around the corner on Monday. I was going to try to post... actually, I do have credits for Fading Afternoon, because I did get a ending for that. Probably not the ending, but I got a ending. I did get the credits on that and thought about posting it just because, I only got a few more days left before I can post directly from the Switch to Twitter. So... But until then, you can find Jeremy and I at JMaxStack and at Nintendo_Domain on Twitter. And then after that, go to Blue Sky or something. Jeremy's on there. I don't remember what your name is on there. Either. It's something about Jer, but I'm at NintenDomain on Blue Sky. You can find me there. And you can also find us on Facebook. If you're still on that total trash heap of a social media, it's mostly just commercials now. Facebook's really gone the way of Meta or whatever the fuck. It's really taken a nosedive. It's basically only become like articles about Marvel movies, and it's basically like whatever you look at. It's just like here's a bunch of articles about shit. You don't really see posts from your friends anymore. But
it's kind of funny what happened this week on Meta, or not on Meta, on X, was that they decided they're going to allow pornography because they can't.
I didn't think they ever didn't
from getting spammed with pornography. Well, no, they got rid of it at one point because people are just getting spammed with it in their comment section, and now it's that's fine.
I thought that was always there. I didn't think
so. Instead of fixing it, I know, but like it's basically the whole like let's just pretend like this was intentional, not that we couldn't figure out how to solve the problem.
I mean, I did notice like a huge rash of like not necessarily pornography, but just a whole bunch of just weird like advertisements and comments like after Musk bought it, like where all of a sudden it was like. You're just trying to read the comments, and it's like, here, buy this weird thing that has nothing to do with any of this. But but I did see stuff like that too, where people would comment on like game posts, where it's like, here, here's a here's like a picture of my skin, like go to my thing or whatever, or you get random messages too, like to your own account and all that. But you kind of get that on any of the social meets. But yeah, it's whatever. But we do have a Nintendo main community in Facebook. But say, like I said, Facebook has really taken a major nosedive, and I've seen a lot of people posting it on there, being like, "Hey, why can't we see our friends anymore? Why is it all just like constant advertisements for fucking articles and bullshit all the time?"
So over the last year,
and I just I've been canceling them, and they still keep coming back.
That's the problem. I noticed there was a tipping point because I was systematically canceling things back when Facebook started. Oh, what did you do? I like this movie. I like that band. I like this, that, whatever. You don't really know the consequence of it. So I was seeing all this stuff that's like, I get posts every day. Like I like, the movie The Big Lebowski, but do I want to see a post about it every day? So I really don't.
People still posting about that.
I
want to know what they want to say now. I want to know the theories about 2024 Big Lebowski. I want to know what they think about the nihilists and all that. I mean, they're probably more important now.
Go through, and every time one of those things came up, I would unsubscribe. I did this probably 200 or 300 times. And there was a point where all of a sudden, when I did just one more, then I started getting suggested for you. Like I get inundated with suggested for you. That's like all that I get. I'll get some posts from friends here and there, but I would say it's probably 30% suggested for you, which I hate even more than seeing the stuff that I kind of liked. It's like I don't want to see this stuff. I don't know what this is. Stop suggesting things.
No, I think that's kind of what it is. That seems to be what it is now. Is mostly
stop telling me to prepare for doomsday or whatever by buying these products.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is suggested for you because you look at one thing. I did have one time that I thought was kind of funny because I look at Star Wars stuff. And, Star Wars fans, a good amount of them are really toxic and awful. And I saw a lot of anti Kathleen Kennedy stuff or whatever. So I kept saying I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. And then it just kept and then it turned around and it was positive Kathleen Kennedy stuff, but it was still suggested for you. And I'm like, okay, all right. You're trying to algorithm me or whatever. And it's stupid. Social media is stupid. All of it's stupid and all that.
You can't block advertisement on Meta unless you have a blue check.
Oh, on Twitter?
Not Meta. I'm sorry, on X. Yeah.
Whatever the fuck. Yeah, it's all really stupid. We just watched that last Doctor Who episode where kids live on a planet and they can only exist from social media and they don't even know how to walk if they don't have their app tell them where to go and all that. So it's kind of been on my mind. It's on Disney Plus. Watch it. The new Doctor Who season's been great.
Sounds like some Black Mirror stuff.
Well, yeah, Doctor Who's from the 60s though. They were Black Mirror's Doctor Who was Doctor Who and Star Trek are kind of the same as far as a show that's been on forever, going back to whenever. But I don't know. Black Mirror probably pulled a lot of shit from old Doctor Who episodes.
Exterminate.
But anyway, yeah, thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook and whatever. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/NintenDomain Podcast. And also check out twitch.tv/NintenDomain Podcast. Hopefully we'll be able to get a 4-player Hunters thing going for our next Wrestle Chat. And of course you can listen to us talk about wrestling and play AEW and all that stuff on there. And you can find it on youtube.com/NintenDomain Podcast as well. And you can find this show also with a static image on the YouTube also and all that. But we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Mikowski.
John Nitter.
And thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya!